Welcome to another episode, everyone. Hoover Gumby says that Big U PC'd up in prison, that Big U dropped his flag, meaning that he stopped gangbanging. He stopped claiming rolling 60s Crip. Now, I found this interesting because of the new overt acts that the feds are trying to say that Big U committed with these new wiretaps and all that I covered yesterday. Let's be honest, it's not looking too good for Big U. I certainly am not wishing anything upon the man. I don't know him. Just looking at the facts and looking at the case, they're certainly trying to put him away. And whether he goes away for 5 years, 5 months, or 50 years, if he goes away, what is it going to be like for him behind bars? Because this individual here, Hoover Gumby, is saying that he dropped his flag in prison, that he was a Muslim. Is he going to have to stick to that once he goes back in, or is he going to be saying that he's from 60s? Gumby also speaks on Straw Dog from Hoover, who was killed in Folsom prison by the neighborhoods. I've never spoke on that because it's hurtful for me. It's hurtful for a lot of individuals what transpired on that fateful day. There was an aftermath. There was a war in the prison system, as you can imagine, that transpired between the Hoovers and the neighborhoods after Straw Dog was killed. Gumby says that he was on the yard when this happened, when Straw Dog was killed, and Big U was also on the yard. Let's get into it.
My understanding, not being from LA, Big U is like one of the figures that you have to check in with.
He has maintained the image of an entertainment industry entrepreneur running a music label and of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles.
Well, I heard about all the allegations, and that's all they are, allegations. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. They don't know what this man did. You know what I'm saying? They, like a lot of people who judging him, you know what I'm saying? Like I said before, like we always against law enforcement. We always, you know what I'm saying, pray that our brothers come home. You know what I'm saying? We can always deal with what we deal with on the streets. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see no, you know what I'm saying, strong black brother, and that's what he was. Over, like I said before, I went to prison. You know what I'm saying? I was 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? And I opened up High Desert State Prison. You know what I'm saying? I was in the first race riot with T Black from Black P Stone over a fucking meeting. You know what I'm saying? So I had an opportunity to meet y'all calling him Big U right now, but at the time, you know what I'm saying, I'm Hoovered out. Listen, I mean, like, I'm really not supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, speaking on, I'm saying, other people's business or characters because I'm from a gang, you know what I'm saying, and we really don't do that. But at this point, you know what I'm saying, I feel like this is important to me for me to, you know what I'm saying, impart my feelings about Big U, you know what I'm saying, to the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is a very powerful figure, you know what I'm saying, in our gang culture. And respected and feared. But at the end of the day, Girl did some PC shit. Hoover. Girl turned Muslim. He dropped his flag on Hoover. He was a Crip when he went to jail, and he dropped his flag. I ain't seen nowhere on the Crip application where you can drop your flag for 16, 15 years and then get out of prison and then come back and control and be the whole leader of LA. No, once you drop your flag, it's over with. Whether you turn Muslim, Christian, or whatever, and that's what he did. Big U was a Muslim his whole time in prison. I seen a blog where he said he knocked out like 30 Mexicans or whatever. Right. I wasn't there for that. I didn't hear anything about that in prison. You know what I mean? But that's my assessment of him. You know what I mean? Basically, like, he was a Muslim in jail. That was the last time I seen him.
One thing that sort of stands out to me is that This interview, as you can see, this is from Real Tune TV. Shout out to Real Tune, who was, interviewing Gumby a lot, even up to the situation with Gumby getting locked up or whatever. And so I believe this interview is from about 6 months ago or so. And you can see how calm Hoover Gumby is. This is really him one of his first interviews, I believe, and him just coming onto the internet. And you heard him say, I'm not really supposed to be speaking on him because I'm from a gang and it's not what we do, But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. But so that's when he was first coming to the internet and, not really knowing how the internet works and all that. His demeanor is just a bit different than it ended up becoming with some of these interviews. But at any rate, there you have it. He said Big U PC'd up that he dropped his flag there in prison. How can he come out and run LA and beat some head honcho in Los Angeles, California, when he was in prison and dropped his flag and became a Muslim? Did some PC stuff. He PC'd up, is what Gumby just said. But let's continue.
I believe his name was Hannibal.
Hannibal.
And he wasn't just a Muslim. He was a bean pie Muslim.
What is a bean pie Muslim?
A bean pie, a Malcolm X. He dropped.
Like he was in the Nation of Islam?
Yes, completely. He was no longer seen as a Crip. And to illustrate that, even that fact a bit more, we had a situation to where my gang and the neighborhoods went to war, when I was in prison. And Big U, which was Hannibal at the time, he basically got a pass. The day my homeboy Straw Dog, HRP from 07, got killed in Folsom, I was in Hot Desert, and my celly was the homie from 11 Deuce, and he had the yard, basically meaning that he was like, he had the keys, and he was a little bit older than me, and he knew a lot of different, older, gang members from different gangs, and he was, fairly acquainted with, Big U, who name was Hannibal at the time. And on the day that Straw Dog XIP got killed, they called yard recall. So everybody's going back to their assigned building, and as we were going to our buildings, we getting tidbits of different information about what happened. First we heard that it was a riot in Folsom, and then we heard that a black got killed, and then we heard that it was a black on black situation. So we're waiting to go back in our buildings for yard recall, and Hannibal comes through the work exchange gate, and he's calling my big homie, and he's basically asking to speak to him. And at this time, we in High Desert, so it's one man up and one man down. And that basically means that it's wartime. And then in prison, it's a situation to where it's probably 30 or 40 blacks to 200 or 300 white boys and Mexicans. So if I'm asleep, you have to be up. If I gotta go take a piss, you gotta come with me. So the day in question that we were talking about, you hurried over and talked to the home, and I was a few feet away from where they were talking at. And he explained, he said, Assalamu alaikum, brother. I'm sorry for your loss, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the homie looked at him like, what you talking about? And he, went on to say, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't know, Assalamu alaikum. He gave a name of the dude from 40s who killed the homie, and explained to us that the 60s didn't have nothing to do with it. And at that point, I'm saying the homie explained to him like that we would investigate it. I'm saying thanks for the information, et cetera, et cetera. So when he walked back to me, because I was only standing a few feet away, I'm saying, asked me, did I hear it? I heard it. So now I know this war. And at this time, I'm saying I'm probably like 19, 20 years old. And like I said, it's your recall. So we have the information that we needed that the homie, you know what I'm saying, died, you know what I'm saying, by the hands of, you know what I'm saying, the neighborhoods. So immediately we plotting revenge. I mean, when ours dead, we gonna make one of y'all dead too. So the only neighborhood 60s, actually the only neighborhoods that was up there was, I believe, Little Squeak was behind the wall, and Hannibal, which was formerly known as Big U. So now it's to the point to where our building officers are calling us by name to come in. You know, me, and so I was like saying, like, let's get Big U. But one of my older homies who was a Muslim, you know, kind of like, not even kind of like pretty much told me, Gumby, shut the fuck up. And he explained to me that that's not Big U. His name is Hannibal. And he explained to me the difference between a devout Muslim and him. And what he said, he like, look, I go to Juma, you know what I'm saying? And I, you know what I'm saying, believe in Allah, and I practice as much as I can, but I straddle the fence because I'm still over here dealing with Hoover politics and prison politics. But Hannibal, which is Big U, you know, he adopted to Islamic culture completely. He dropped his flag. In our community, you can't do that. That's equivalent to PCing up without PCing up. Like, if I'm a gang member and I turn Christian, Muslim, or non-affiliate, or I don't bang no more, I'm a second-rate citizen now. And what I mean by that's like PCing up. PCing up means that you go into protective custody, right? But when you turn Christian or Muslim or any of these other different religious denominations, right, what you're doing is that you're stepping back from all of the politics, from all of the gang politics. You know what I'm saying? You're living your life for God. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying Big U chose to do. So for 15 plus years, this man was a fucking Muslim. No disrespect to the Muslims, because I got big homies that's high ranking Islamic, I'm saying, figures. I'm saying actually one of the homies is actually one of the Farrakhan's bodyguards. I'm saying, and these are the people who I'm saying I were in prison with. I'm saying to help me. I'm saying be who I am. You know what I mean? So I don't mean no disrespect to the Muslim community or, you know what I'm saying, anything like that. But I feel disrespected because he even played the religious card. Like, 15 years, you're a Muslim. So how the fuck you get out of jail and talking about you the king of LA when you punked the gang, bro? Those are my feelings about Big U.
Okay. Those are his feelings about Big U. There you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't know. I just found it interesting, as I said, because if Big U is heading back to prison, and I'm not bringing that to existence or calling that to existence, I don't know. I don't know his situation. You know, I don't know if he's guilty, if he should go to prison or whatever. I don't know. I'm not that deeply involved. But I do know that when the feds come and get you, it's because they feel like they have a case on you, a pretty strong case, and they're steadily trying to build their case. Now, it could also be that they feel like their case is weak, as one of my young homies pointed out to me on the phone last night, and that's why they came with these other charges or overt acts and all that to try to, supplement their case, to try to strengthen their case, because maybe they don't feel like they got them dead to rights. That made sense also. Whatever the case, should he go to prison for whatever time, what is he up against? Here you hear Hoover Gumby saying That was in state prison, obviously high desert, and the federal prison system is different. The politics are different and all of that, but they're in state prison, in high desert state prison, where I did 7 years. Gumby was there, as we just heard, and he said that he was there with Big U. And Big U was a devout Muslim, that he had totally dropped his flag, totally wasn't a gang member, because they were ready to attack him over Straw Dog being killed by a dude from Rolling 40s. And as we just heard Gumby say, Big U approached them, and that's how they first even found out that it was actually Straw Dog that had been killed. They got that information from Big U. And in the same breath, Big U told them, hey, it had nothing to do with the 60s, man. I was the 40s, whatever. Well, it don't matter if you don't bang and if you done dropped your flag. If it has something to do with the 60s or 40s or whomever, if you are a devout Muslim who no longer gangbangs. At any rate, what is he up against should he go back to prison? Big U, and that is certainly what he is faced with right now. He's faced with a lifetime in prison, of course, but should he go back for any time, though it be the federal prison system, will he be a Crip or a Muslim? Is he the king of LA? That's going to be the big OG shot caller for the rolling 60s in the penitentiary, in the federal penitentiary for the whole neighborhood car, the whole Crip car or whatever? Or is he going to be a Muslim? Or the Muslim's going to tell him he has to make it a decision. You're Hannibal. Your name is Hannibal, and you are a Muslim, and you must disavow gangbanging and the Crips altogether. For real, not no straddling the fence. Or the Crips going to tell him, you with us or you with them? I mean, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I do think that it's interesting if all of this stuff is accurate, that he did indeed drop his flag. I don't know. I never ran across him in prison there in high desert. He wasn't there in high desert when I was there. But nevertheless, if he dropped his flag and was really a Muslim, and not only a Muslim, but a devout Muslim, a serious Muslim, man, I'm a Muslim. I'm done. I'm not a gang member at all. And that's that. I'm a Muslim. And if that's the case, then what is he going to do now? Because on the street, it seemed like he was still, I didn't really know anything about him being a Muslim on the street. Never seen him with a kufi on or any of this stuff, or at a mosque. I saw him hanging out, doing whatever, but I didn't know that he was a Muslim. He didn't give me that impression. What impression is he going to give in prison should he have to go back? Again, that's what he's up against right now, as we all know. Serious time. We'll see what happens, but I'm just curious. It is a bit curious. I do want to know what will be the situation with Big U. Which way will he go if he has to go back to prison? Is he thinking about that now? At which line is he going to push? I'm a Muslim, and that's that, or I'm a high-ranking gang member. The highest-ranking gang member here and can have anything done here with these gang members. Which route is he going to go? Is he going to have the power as a gang member, or is he going to the religious route? I don't know. I'm curious to find out. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. There you have it, though. Hoover Gumby saying Big U PC'd up there in prison. That he dropped his flag. I wouldn't call that PCing up myself necessarily, because if you stop gang banging, but I can break all that down. I get what Gumby is saying and why some people feel that way. But not everyone feels that way, but some people do. That when you drop your flag, you turn Muslim and all that in prison, that you're just trying to escape the politics of the prison gang life and the violence that is the prison gang life. And then you get out and all of a sudden you still gang bang. You're a gang member again, Deep. Stay safe and stay free, people.